Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Dallas in the house from PPN. So, everybody, please, if you have a question for Dallas, please feel free to raise your hand and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast. Or if you cannot speak, there is a picture of Dallas on the wall. You can write your question. You can write your question underneath the comment area over there. Also, to everybody, please be careful who you listen to, who you follow, and what you're putting into your mind. It is getting absolutely crazy out there, and I sit in these different chats and listen to what's going on, and it's literally it's pretty dangerous. It's sad, so please be careful, everybody. I've seen people that have been walking this journey with us for this long. Now they're going on to the other side, and that's terrifying. So again, everybody, the division is out there. They're trying to come in between the Trump supporters to get us at each other's necks, and I'm seeing it happen. So please be careful. I'm telling you, it could be very disturbing with some of the stuff that I'm hearing out there. Also, too, I have a fraud alert, everybody. I did put it on the wall yesterday. Somebody is out there again using my picture, my name. They're calling it Jay Jareed Podcast. That is not me. If you see it, block, report it. They're trying to get you into the QFS, all this kind of stuff. Again, it's a scammer. Talking about finances, talking about crypto, all that stuff. Do not believe it, especially after myself and many of us, including Dallas, tell you we will not randomly reach out to you. If you message us, we'll get back to you, like an email or something. But we're not going to randomly reach out to you and ask you if you're ready for the scare event, your finances, or any crypto. So please block and report them, everybody, and make sure that they're not here in my room. Also, to everybody, we are being listened to in over 100 countries. So if you come into this podcast late, you can follow the podcast host on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music, social medias as well. I do put the podcast up over there, and they are all verified except for three. The social medias are Jenny Dreed Facebook. It is verified at Jenny underscore Dreed. X is verified at J Dreed Rumble. Verified at J Dreed Instagram. Verified at J Dreed True Social. Not verified. The Revival of America right here on Telegram. The Revival of America YouTube. That is a new channel of ours. That's not verified yet. And last but certainly not least, at the official J Dreed on TikTok, which is not verified either. I'm working on those, but they're taking a little bit longer than the others, apparently. So also too, everybody, go to the website, therevivalamerica.com, sign up for the newsletter. It is free. It gives you the latest updates on the podcast as well as the weekly show lineups with the dates and the times of the guests. So sign up for that. Again, it's free. And then last but certainly not least, if you have a story or a journey that you would like to share and you feel like you've been censored or shut down, you can't say it or speak it or you're too afraid, please reach out to me at the revival of America at yahoo.com. We will get your voice and your story heard because remember, it's your stories, your journeys, your voices that are going to help change the world that we are coming, this new world that we're coming into. So, with all of that, everybody, we have Dallas in the house. He typically gives us 90 time. So, please, if you raise your hand, question for Dallas, please be mindful of his time. And yeah, go ahead, Dallas. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I I almost forgot, and then you posted on X, and it came dinged on my phone. I was like, "Oh man!" So that's why I was early because I was like, "Oh, I gotta get ready." Um,
I was gonna message you and remind you because today obviously was a little bit off because I took the day off on Monday because it was my birthday, but so I pushed everything a day forward. So yeah, I'm glad you're here. Glad you didn't forget.
Heck yeah! No, it's awesome, and you're right. I mean, everything you're saying as far as there's a whole lot of discourse, and I had a guy text me today with another QFS scam on X and connected to XRP, and I mean it's getting kind of crazy out there, but at the same time it's also getting kind of exciting because we're actually starting to see movement happening on the rest and people being held accountable and the truth being revealed. I was just watching or rewatching Tulsi Gabbard talk about the biolabs in Ukraine that were funded and built by the United States Department of Defense, and you got Fauci talking about the 300,000 missing children from the Biden administration. You have people talking
Okay,
about chemtrails openly.
you mean Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talking
Yes,
about
I'm sorry.
yeah,
What did I say?
they're going
What
after
I,
Fauci.
did I say Fauci said that? Sorry. Well,
Fauci.
yeah, RFK Jr. is talking about the 300,000 missing children. Sorry. Don't pull that and put it on Telegram. I look like an idiot.
That was a
Which is
misspeak,
not hard
everybody.
to do, but
Don't take it literally.
yeah,
Yeah, Robert F. Kennedy did
yeah,
open up about HHS under the Biden administration and how he let all of these trafficked children come through our borders with just numbers on their arms or or little tags on their shirts. So, yeah, everybody, things are happening. Go ahead, because I want to follow up with what you're saying about the rest happen. So, and everything else. Go ahead, finish what you're saying. I apologize. I just want to make that clear for everybody, because you know how
No,
some
thank
people
you.
said, take things and run with it. And Dallas said this. No, I didn't. So correct this.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first, and it probably won't be the last. But no, just lots of it just it's exciting to me that this stuff is actually coming out into the public view. Now, is mainstream media covering it? No. Are they running with it? No. But it's out there, so people that want to see it can, and people that are open um, are being exposed. And the crazy part that I'm coming head to head with is there are people out there that just literally don't care. I mean, they don't care what you say. They don't care what proof you provide. They don't care, how much evidence you have to back up, this thought or that thought. They just orange man bad. Trump and anybody associated with him is bad. Elon is bad. And, I've said it openly. I don't trust Elon as far as I can throw him, but he's doing good work. And so, it's kind of, you kind of, let the mole root up the roots and and get all the good stuff and then get rid of the mole maybe, right? That might be a bad example, but
With
or
you,
bad
I do
analogy.
believe that this Elon that we're seeing has been meant for this time, right? So I
Yeah,
do believe that he's been right along with Trump for longer than we've actually been seeing. And as many of us probably know, this probably more than likely is not the real Elon. We probably are watching a 2.0. So, in regards to what you said about the arrests, everybody, the arrests are happening. There's been confirmation on that from Juan regarding that. Whether you like him or not, Juan has been on target. He has been giving us all this information since day one, and now guess what? Like Dallas says, we're seeing it come to fruition. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And Dallas is right. Many people don't give a shit. They don't want to see it, or they're just too blind to see it. And you know what? Those are the people that are not going to ever wake up, right? Even to see it, to believe it, they won't. So, but things are happening, everybody. The arrests are happening. And what's happening is people are getting upset because their expectation is, oh, I want to see Hillary publicly arrested. I want to see Obama publicly arrested. Well, how do we know behind the scenes that that hasn't happened? Just because we haven't seen it doesn't mean it's not happening. And so, but just know, everybody, don't set your expectations so high, because when it doesn't happen in your timing, you're going to be disappointed and pissed off. Let it happen in God's timing, because that's when it's supposed to happen. And what I'm getting information on and being told is that it's happening behind the scenes. And believe a lot of these people have been already captured. They are playing their role. So hence, these bus drivers, bus driving the Congress people around. Nancy Drew reported a couple weeks ago. He couldn't tell her anything, but they're playing a role. I do believe that they've been captured. They're probably side by side with a marshal, but they have to play out their role to have some kind of a legacy, or they just kill them off. I think that's the other option. So anyway, I wanted to back you up on that, because yes, it has been confirmed, and Juan said it today on Nino's show. The arrests are happening now, and for those of you that are saying nothing is happening, take the blinders off. All right, go ahead, Dallas.
yeah. Well, and then in that vein, like people always get on me on podcasts, and I see that the chats just go nuts when I talk about Hillary Clinton, or Bill Clinton, or Obama, and they're like, oh, they've been dead for 5 years. Cool, great. But I still need to see them physically arrested. I need to see them held accountable, or I need to see footage of when it happened. And that hasn't happened. I mean, like, it's the movie is still playing out. I've openly shared my disdain for, the concept of pantomime or movie, because it's a sucky movie, because we're we're unfortunately NPCs in this movie. We're non-player characters that don't really get to have a say in how the game or the movie plays out. We're just extras in the background watching this thing, kind of unfold in front of us. But I believe with all my heart that reckoning is coming, and that in the end, you know, there's a really good movie that's out. It's actually pretty old, but it's called Heaven's War. We rented it as a group on Prime, I think, but it's called Heaven's War. But it depicts the spiritual battle that rages on around us. And what's interesting in the movie is it follows a particular senator who's a freshman senator, young, idealistic, good man, not a person of faith necessarily, but a good person, husband, father, son, and the spiritual war that goes on around him. But what's interesting is the senators that are trying to get him to side with them, they have a vaccine that is guaranteed to cure cancer. And again, this movie it's either from 2009 or 2014. I can't remember, but it's an older movie. And that's the premise of The Dark Side, or The Darkness, is a vaccine that cures cancer. And it doesn't. It cures it for about 3 months, and then it kills every person that takes it. But I just found it super odd, right? I'm watching a movie with 30 of my friends who are conservative, who are, voted for Trump, for the most part. I don't know that for a fact, but pretty solid. And they talk about this vaccine that's guaranteed to cure cancer. Well, when Trump introduced all the guys with OpenAI and the Japanese firm that's going to, put $5 trillion into, investing into the United States and this and that, or 3 trillion or whatever the number was. I mean, what did they talk about? They talked about gene splicing and gene sequencing, where they could cure cancer with the vaccine. And I was like, whoa, that's weird. I don't think that's Trump saying that, but it just pretty odd, or pretty, again, I don't believe in coincidences, right? I mean, this movie is 10 years old at best. And that's the premise, is they have a cure for cancer vaccine that's actually killing everybody. But
well, again, too, Dallas, they have to tell us, right? So they told us however long that movie was, what it was,
yeah,
right? But also, too, I believe Trump put those people front and center to expose them for who they are and what they're doing. So it came down to either the United States or China having the control of where the AI is being built. I believe the facilities or whatever. So now
yeah,
Trump's got the control. I do believe that he's going to switch it around for something else, but I do believe Trump put those three gentlemen, because if you dig into their past, everybody, they
yeah,
are tied with nefarious shit. So,
yeah. All three of them are terrible human beings.
yep,
But
terrible.
I just found that super odd watching an older movie. But it's a really profound movie about salvation and redemption, and it's just a good depiction of the war that rages on around us, right? In the heavenly realms, but also in the physical realm on earth. And that's just a good movie. So, but that's about it. I know that, you guys will ask a bunch of questions, but, money is moving from what I'm hearing, on the highest ends. There have been some pretty serious delays. But I think we're about to cross that threshold. I don't exactly know what happens next time wise, but I do believe we're getting closer every day.
Really comfortable, because the last time you were here, you were saying if it doesn't happen by this timeline or whatever, then I'm going to be a little bit concerned. So sounds to me like you're getting excited. I mean, you've always been excited and very positive, but it sounds to me like you're moving right along and you're feeling really confident about things.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was told to look to last Tuesday for movement, and then obviously Tuesday came and went. The whole week came and went. This Tuesday came and went. Now we're on Friday, but it seems like starting yesterday, the first, which is also kind of what I felt, and I might have even said that on our last podcast, is that if it didn't happen by last Tuesday, that we were probably looking at the first through the fifth, and that seems to be more accurate timing. So now we just got to hold tight, get through the weekend. I'm keeping my eyes glued on Iraq, because I think Iraq is about to about to launch one way or the other. And if Iraq goes, everything goes. I no longer believe that Iraq is going to go by themselves. I think it's all coordinated. I know that it's been taken out of Reno for the most part, and it's been taken overseas to Singapore, I believe, and Zurich is where most of the money is moving now. There were just too many leaks in Reno, and it was hindering the process. But I am optimistic, and I'm hoping to get some really positive news in the next 2 or 3 days that will give me pause to be excited, or cause to be excited.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, be excited because there's a lot of positive winnings that were that are happening other than the money front, right? So, all right,
100%.
all right, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and start taking some questions. Like I said, Dallas gives us 90 minutes of his time, so if you want to unmute or raise your hand, I'll unmute your mic, or put your question on the wall underneath his picture. So let's see, Liberty and Justice, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question. Go ahead, Liberty and Justice. Your mic is unmuted. All right, guys. If you guys don't respond, I'm going to move on to the next. Grandmother of five. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hello, hello, hello. Let me mute this TV. Dadgummit. Y'all, I'm having troubles.
I can hear you.
Okay. Dallas, I wanted to ask you about, I've heard so many people talking about after the 5th or the 5th, that being the last day. What do you think about that? And also, what do you think? Do you think the Bolivar's going to be in the first basket? I've heard Trump bring up the Bolivar in his speeches so many times. And I just feel like he's going to get it in that first basket. I may be wrong. What do you think?
I think the 5th probably is more likely the beginning, kind of the first day, from what I'm gathering. But, it's got to wait and see kind of what happens over the weekend. But, the Boulevard is questionable. I know Mark has been pretty vocal about it possibly not being in the first basket, but that's purely due to the fact that the current prime minister of Venezuela is a warlord dictator, socialist that has destroyed the country. And if he is maintained in power and is still anti, prosperity for his country, then possibly we get skipped. But I also feel like, if it goes, he could be removed in a heartbeat, and literally within minutes. So I don't know. I'm just keeping a close eye on it. One way or the other, the Boulevard is going to go. And we just have, right now, if you get to, everybody that has an Apple iPhone, if you go to your calculator down at the bottom, there's a little calculator icon. I think I shared this before, but if you click on that, it has a converter app on it, and it's there specifically to do currency conversions. And if you do a million Boulevard right now, it's showing $11,443 as the exchange rate, which is not what I was told, but still, a million Sabanero typically costs, $1, maybe, I mean, there for a long time, I know Banknote World was selling them for 49 cents. I mean, they were just under 50 cents each. But if you pay 50 cents to even $2 or $2.50, and you can turn it in for $11,500, that's a pretty good rate of return. That's kind of what I've said from the beginning is, what if we only get 10 cents on the dollar for everything we own? Like, it's still going to be a lot of money. 10 of them is over $100,000. You got 100 of them, that's $1 million, right? Most of us bought stacks of hundreds, or 100 of them because they were 50 cents or $1, and I say most of us, not everybody, but most people didn't buy one, right? You buy, 10, $10 is going to get you. Now, shoot. Now I'm forcing myself to do math, but well, let's say they're $1 each. $10 gets you 10 of them, right? So I was right. $100 to get you 100 of them, but to pay $100 to get over $1 million, that's a pretty good rate of return. So I still think it's in the first basket, but I can see why people are hesitant. But I think that problem could be fixed, very quickly. It's the same concept as China, right? Is Xi Jinping good and the Communist Party of China are bad? Well, that's what we've been told, and that's what I tend to believe because Ping and Trump and Putin have fairly good relationships. So we just got to wait and see.
Well, I just, with Trump having done the talk he's done so many times about the Bolivar, it was like he was telling people, get some, you know? And I mean, I don't, 15 zeros, I can't even tell you how much that is, for what I've got. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I think it was Trump's way. He was just directly telling us to get you some Bolivar because it's going to go and it's going to be big. So that's what I'm thinking. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, you keep on keeping my email now. Don't you lose it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm counting on you. All right. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Grandmother 5. Okay, let's see. Lacey, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Lacey. Your mic is unmuted. All right. Wanda Nevers, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. It's the blue button in the middle of your screen. Wanda Nevers, go ahead. You requested a mic. Your mic is unmuted. Okay. Brenda Edens, your mic is unmuted. Go for it.
Yeah, I have a question. We've always wondered about when we redeem our currency, taking a portion in, not all of it, just kind of experimenting and da da da. This morning we heard Holly Celiano, and she mentioned, of course, she added if you're in a group that they're saying you only have one bite out of the apple, so you have to take all your currency in at one time. um, I don't, I wouldn't say we're in a group. So if you could explain, Dallas, what it means to be in a group, because we just personally bought off websites and stuff. And then what
Mhm.
your thoughts are if we can just turn in, if we can do it in a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, a group is, the ones that we are most familiar with are the Loved One Society, obviously the Admirals Group. But what people don't understand is that there are 9 different Admirals groups. There's one that is in Reno that's associated with the Treasury, but there are 8 others that are kind of spread out. I don't know if they're offshoots of the original group or how that came to be, but you have Loved One Society, you have the Admirals groups. Bruce's Big Call technically is a group, and the groups, most of them have asked to aggregate the currencies. So you send in your currencies, you make a spreadsheet of what you have, and most of the groups request serial numbers and things like that. But if you're in a group and you've aggregated your currency, well, then one, you don't take your currency in. I mean, it's done as a group, and then you get paid out whatever the heads of the groups determine the exchange value is. And that's the downside. The good side is you get SKRs and you get processing, things like that. The downside is you're not the one actually physically redeeming your currency. So if you have loose currency, you're not in a group.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. We've just purchased off Banknote World or eBay.
Yeah.
So I didn't think we're in a group. So you think it's possible, that we could just take partial
I
in and
think
then,
we have to ask because I've been told several times that it's kind of a one-shot deal, right? You have one opportunity to go in. Once you go in, they know you went in, and that's designed to prevent double dipping. Where you go turn in a little bit of currency and you go buy a bunch more. If the markets are still open, or you find some way to get your hands on some, and then you go turn in a bunch, right? But we just have to ask when the notification comes out and we get the website or the 800 number, however it works. When you call to schedule your appointment, that's the question that I plan to ask is, do we have to redeem it all at one time, or, can we do multiple appointments? But we just have to ask. I don't have the exact answer for you.
yeah, what we were thinking, some people's advice to us is just go to a bank, And we live in a very big state in a very small town. So in Alaska,
Yeah.
um, I can't imagine a redemption center, so to speak, would open up here. But so we were told perhaps just going to a Wells Fargo or something here. Exchange rate could be less. I don't know. And
Yeah, if you just walk into a teller and try to redeem, they're going to give you whatever the forex rate is. It could be higher, it could be lower, probably lower. But if you live in remote areas, in your instance, the banks will be the redemption centers, but they'll probably be specific ones. Like I would assume maybe, Anchorage is the largest city in Alaska, but maybe you have to go to Anchorage, or maybe you have to get to one of the other slightly bigger cities. But the redemption center will probably be in a bank, but you would still schedule that through the website or the 800 number or whatever process that is that we get.
yeah, Anchorage would be the biggest city. And I mean, it's 4 hours away. It's definitely doable. But we were
Yeah.
also told that redemption center, bank, whatever, just not doing the whole appointment and NDAs, just going in and exchanging currency.
But yeah, I believe that's an option, but I do think you'll get a lower rate, but it's definitely an option.
Okay, I think we just have to wait and see and ask
Yeah, yeah.
questions. Okay, thank you. Holly Ciliano's show was really good this morning. So just for everybody.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I try to listen to her every Friday.
Yeah,
She has
20
some
minutes.
good
And it,
information.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brenda. Excuse me. All right, Miss Lacey, your mic is unmuted again. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Jenny. Sorry about that. My phone was freaking out earlier right as you were calling on me, so I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. So Dallas, I'm looking at some upcoming travel, and that will involve having to exchange some currency. Also, might involve not being here, or where I need to be when it's time to exchange. I guess two-pronged question there. If I exchange for the travel purposes, does that count as my one and done? And then two, if I'm not, local at the time of the exchange, will I have any problems that you can foresee? Also, I want to let you know I've been praying for you and your wife, and I hope your wife found a new job. Sorry, that was a side
Oh,
note.
thank you. She had a great interview this last week, and she has a second interview. They've pretty much offered her the job, but she has a second interview with the president of the company on Tuesday. So thank you for the prayers, and they're much appreciated. Oh my gosh, I got sidetracked. Tell me the premise of your first question.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so if I travel, will
Oh,
that
yes. Okay,
exchange count as
I
my
got
one
it.
and done?
I got it. Well, one, I don't know of anywhere where you can redeem to get a significant amount of money right now. As of today. So I don't know if you could redeem to get travel funds, but if you are traveling, I always take a little bit of currency with me. And it kind of goes back to the very last question, right? Well, we'll be able to go to 2 appointments. Well, if I'm in New Jersey with my family on our annual, family reunion, and I redeem, well, then could I schedule a second appointment to come back? Or, ultimately, if the call comes, more than likely, I'm probably going to do whatever I have to get back home. Schedule my appointment, get back home, do the exchange, and then fly back out to my family on a private jet or something silly like that, and extend our vacation by 3 weeks. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
It just, that's $1 million question. What do we do if we travel? Because if you have to travel, you have to travel, right? And I'm never going to be the one that says don't stay, stay home, because I literally know people that have, missed, class reunions and family reunions, and one person's father was sick and they didn't travel because they thought we were going to RV. This is 2.5 years ago, and their father ended up passing away, so they missed their last opportunity to be with their father before he passed away because they thought we were going to RV. Like, that's, to me, that's a silly way to go through life. And I'm not disparaging the person that made that decision, but I wouldn't make that decision. I would go visit my family, visit my relatives, travel for work, travel for pleasure. Obviously be smart, be intelligent about it. I don't particularly fly. I haven't flown in several years, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't. But I think, when the time comes, whatever we're doing, we're going to more than likely drop everything and take care of this, because I also think it will be, I don't think it'll be a crazy short window. Like you have 24 hours to get to the bank, like that would be impossible. But we also will have time. If you're on vacation and you got 2 days left, before you come home, well, then schedule your appointment for the 4th day. You know what I mean? Like, give yourself time. But I think you'll be fine. And again, if I have to leave my family for 24 hours to do what I think is going to happen with this RV, then like I said, I can fly back on a private jet and pick them up and take them to the Maldives, or extend our vacation for the whole family for, pretty much indefinitely. But I don't know if that helps, but that's my advice.
It does. Thank you so much, Dallas.
Thank you, Lacey. Okay, Donna Roper, your mic is muted. Go ahead.
Dallas, this is Donna Roper. Jenny, I hope you finally got moved. I know what a pain that can be. And then settled in. But Dallas, the only thing I need, darling, is your email. I keep writing it or I miss it, but I have a trust. I'm 75. It was written 5 years ago, and I wanted to change it because circumstances always change. But then
Right.
I've known all this is coming up. So I'm going to need your help for, I want to work with a Christian. I want, it's got to be written up under the new constitutional rules. So if you could just give me your email, I swear I'll get it right this time.
Yes, it's DallasPPN@gmail.com. I'm going to type it in the chat also.
PPN. Well, I follow you on there at gmail.com. Okay, great. Because that's when everything happens, because I know you're going to have a lot of people, like you said, that will be working for you. And I'm here in South Carolina, and the instant I RV and can kind of get settled, and as soon as we know the constitutional and all that stuff, I will get in touch with you and send an email so that, we can get that whole thing changed. That's the only thing that's really been on my mind.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Yep. And so you just, I've also been praying for you and your wife and throughout her cancer and this job thing. And we appreciate all you do, and all you do too, Jenny. All you do too. Thank you.
Donna. All right, Miss Cal, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi. 2 questions. One, if we're supposed to go into a year-long celebration starting on Memorial Day weekend, I know this would only be your opinion, but would this supposed to be coming before then, or would this RV come after then? And my next question is, could you repeat where you say on the iPhone that you go for, you can check how to revalue the currency on your phone? Because I don't know, I missed that part. Thank you.
Yeah, if you go to your calculator on your iPhone, and down at the bottom of the numbers is a little icon of a calculator. You click on that, and at the bottom, it has a little toggle switch that says convert. And if you flip that toggle switch on, it brings up currencies, and you can pick what currency you want to convert, USD into Vietnamese dong, or Venezuela Bolivar, so on and so forth. But it's on your calculator at the bottom left.
Thank you.
And then, sorry, my brain is struggling today. What was your first question?
I was saying, if we're supposed to go into a year-long celebration.
Right.
Oh,
Sorry.
can you guys hear me?
Sorry. You say like 2 words. I'm like, oh, I remember the whole thing.
Dallas, Can
Yeah.
you guys hear me? Real
Yes.
quickly, is that for an iPhone, this conversion, or is it for a Droid, or does it matter?
Mine is an iPhone. I only know it works on the iPhone, but I would kind of be surprised if it wasn't on the other phones as well.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead with your second question. Sorry.
Yeah, it just popped up about 6 months ago. I just stumbled across it. I didn't even know it was there, but I was like, that's weird. And it has, Venezuela, it has Iraq, it has, Vietnam. I mean, it has all the currencies on it. It's kind of cool. But the year-long celebration, I am under fairly good confidence that Trump fully expected this to be done by the end of last month. Obviously, that didn't happen. But I would think that it would only make sense for the RV to come right before or right after the announcement, because how do we all go celebrate, and take part in all these celebrations if we can't afford to buy gas for our cars or put eggs on the table for our kids? I mean, so I think it can only go one way, but two ways, either, right now leading up to the announcement, or, hopefully not, but worst case scenario, right after the announcement of the celebration. It only makes sense to me, because I can tell you my family's not going to anything that costs money because we don't have extra money to spend.
Okay, I was just wondering, I mean, I would hope by July 4th of 2026, they're not going to wait till then.
Well, if we get that far and something went wrong bad, and I think we probably have to start looking at alternatives at that point, but I
All
don't
right.
think we get that far.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And remember, everybody, nobody truly knows when this is going to happen. Trump's going to have a military parade on his birthday, June 14th. We've heard Memorial weekend or day this year. The celebration goes into next year, July 4th. So again, the dates are an epic fail, and I think that's where people are getting stuck, and they're getting disappointed and let down, because we've been told so many dates this week, next week, da da da. I get it. I get the frustration, everybody. I understand that. However, we can't hold on to those dates, because we're hanging on to them so tightly that when it doesn't come, we're pissed off. We're mad, right? So nobody ever knows. So anybody out there giving you a definite date, I know this, it just isn't, it's just not realistic, right? So like Dallas says, there's been a lot of kinks in the hose throughout the transaction. I mean, I remember telling Dallas, some people, going in and taking some money from different funds and this, that, and the other. So I get it. We're in war, and unfortunate things happen during that. So all I can say, everybody, just keep praying, keep your head held high, and just don't hold on to those dates, because if you don't want to be disappointed or upset, I wouldn't hang on to them, because we've gone through date after date after date after date after date after date, and nothing's happened. Here we still are. So just know it's coming. How it's coming, when it's coming, what it's going to be called, nobody knows. So just hang tight, everybody, and just look at all the positive things that are happening in the world. So you have to believe that something's about to happen in this situation. So all right,
Yeah.
everybody. Would you agree with that, Dallas?
I do 100%. For instance, last Friday, a very large, RV, truther podcast that takes place mostly on X, made a very bold statement that they were never going to have a call again. Well, guess what they're going to do here in about 30 minutes? You're going to have another call because it didn't happen, right? Why it didn't happen, that's up in the air. I mean, there's the tariff stuff is it's not about the tariffs, but it's about just the countries coming together. But I agree. We just gotta keep plugging forward. And my wife gives me grief almost every week. But more has happened this week than happened last week, and a whole lot happened last week, and last week more happened last week than the week before that. And Iraq has never been where they are right now, ever. So we gotta. Mark Z says all the time, look, the fundamentals, right? Iraq is for all intents and purposes, Iraq is ready to go. And, the oil prices are continuing to drop per barrel, not at the gas pump for some reason, but But their 2025 budget implodes if they keep the exchange rate where it is with the price of oil where it is. If they change the exchange rate, well, then the price of oil being at $60 is no big deal, right? I mean, it's not great, but it's better than 13.10. So we just got to watch the fundamentals, and we just gotta let it play out, because it is a huge endeavor. And we're not changing the currency of one country. We're not changing the banking structure, the banking system of one country or one town or one city. We're changing the currency, banking, transition, transfer, process for the entire world. And there's lots of moving pieces.
You guys, that's why I say, so, you hear Trump talk about the biggest wealth transfer in human history. Is that what Nassar Jassar is going to be called? How's it going to roll out, right? So this is my thought process. The money thing is not my lane, right? I listen to it, I pay attention to it, but I don't speak on it. If it happens, great. It's a blessing, huge. If it doesn't, I still have to get up and go to work tomorrow. So that's why I say, everybody, epic fail always dates. Just, like Dallas said, there's a lot of stuff happening, and as we get further into this, we're pretty far into this movement already, but as we're getting further into seeing things actually coming to fruition, it's happening, everybody. So just take some solace in that, and take every win that we get every day, hang on to it, because that's just one day closer to this happening, right? So just hang in there, everybody. Take a deep breath. I know it's hard for many, but we're closer than we've ever been, if that makes anybody smile. I know it probably doesn't, but I hope we can give you guys some kind of peace throughout these podcasts that we do. So okay, so real quickly, AA Flight 150, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hey, Dallas. Hey, Jenny. Just want to say thanks. And here's a chuckle. You want an epic fail? 40 years wandering around in the desert. So my question is, hey, have a laugh on Friday. It's Friday. If you woke up, you're in the best place you could be. So, Dallas, can you give us a little bit more on the mis and disinformation regarding the redemption centers and the banks? Because there's a group out there that says, well, if you're going to a bank, that's the only place to go, because if you're going to behind the Piggly Wiggly with the dumpster. So God bless all of you. Thanks.
Yeah, no. I can tell you that if there are redemption centers, which I believe there are, because I've talked to people that claim to work in them. One person that I've talked to many times designed the security system for the building, for the redemption center building, and he did it for 3, not in Texas, but I guess you could make all that up and lie to me multiple times on the phone over 2-3 year period, and I wouldn't catch on. But that's not how my personality works. One of my gifts is discernment, and I can sniff out lies pretty effectively. So the redemption centers are not going to be in a rundown building in the ghetto, on the side of, a gas station and next to a crack house. Like, that's not where they're going to be. Some of them will, I believe, will be in banks. Like, there's a huge Wells Fargo in downtown Denton. The building is 5 stories high. Well, the bank is on the first floor, but they own the whole building. So maybe the redemption center is on the 2nd or 3rd or 4th, or maybe even the 5th floor, but it will be secure. It will be protected. My understanding is that the military will be around to guarantee, security and safety for the redemption centers. And the one saying, go to the bank, they're also selling trusts, and they're selling, get our humanitarian project. It only costs you $500 for me to run your idea through Chat GPT and send you back a really professionally looking form. So I just, if anybody says something, what I would consider to be bad news, oh, well, you're not going to be able to redeem because of XYZ, or if you're not with this particular group, you can't do this, but whatever they say right after they give you that really terrible news, if it's a sales pitch of any kind, then I would disregard the bad news because they're using fear, they're using manipulation to get you to give them money. And there are people that have made millions selling trusts through this program. There are people, you know, and I use Phil Gogluski as an example. I don't have an opinion on him. I don't know all the details of the court cases and all that stuff. I probably wouldn't spend a lot of time with him personally, but that doesn't mean that I don't listen to what he says. But he has one platform that's a paid platform that pays him roughly $750,000 a month. Like, he has made literally tens of millions of dollars off of this movement over the last 2.5, 3 or 4 years. I don't particularly fault him because all of his companies are legal. They are legit, goldquiz.com and all that stuff. I'm not promoting or advocating for them. I'm just saying that they're legitimate, companies and doing legitimate business. There's nothing nefarious there, but there are truthers that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars just regurgitating the Dinar Chronicles recap, every day and charging people X amount of money to talk to them on the phone or something like that. Like, in my personal opinion, because I'm on a bunch of calls and I hear everything. I hear all sides of everything. And there's groups today that are forming that, like, if you're not with us, you're not going to be able to redeem any currency. They're going to confiscate it. And like, I just don't buy into it. I mean, if that is the case, then hopefully I'll be aware enough that when I go through the redemption process here in the United States, if I smell a rat, and I've said it before, I'm going to politely excuse myself with all of my currency. I'm not signing anything. But I just don't believe that to be true. And when they tell you fear things like that, if they are pitching something that costs you money to take part in, or you have to give up your currency to be a part of it, then I would steer clear of it. I wouldn't necessarily discredit some of the information that they're presenting, but I don't subscribe to any of those.
Run.
No.
I say run as fast
Thanks.
as you can.
Yeah. So
Thanks. I appreciate that. And I just appreciate your discernment, but I'm the same type. I'm going to investigate everything before I do anything.
Yeah, and that's a great segue into the redemption process, right? Or there are people out there that say when you walk in, they're going to hand you an NDA, you're going to hand them their currency, and then boom, you don't have any say from that point on. Well, if you walk in and they hand you an NDA and you just blindly sign it before the conversation has ever even taken place, well, then you're not using all of the brain that God gave you, right? I mean, I'm not signing anything until the end because I don't want to sign an NDA and then they tell me something, that I need to share that I can't, you know what I mean? I'm not giving my currency. I'm not giving all my currency at one time. I'm gonna say, okay, do my Boulevard, do my Zim, do my Dinar. But if I ever feel any kind of odd, they get real demanding. Now, I'm not going to be rude, right? That's what we also have to be mindful of too. You can't be unruly because if you become unruly, they're going to remove you. But if they become aggressive or demanding or threatening, well, then I'm going to politely collect my stuff. I'm going to excuse myself. And if they say I can't, then I'm going to stick my finger down my throat and start vomiting all over the place or something. I'm like I'm going to leave the facility. But we just, we got to use our intuition. We have to, just be aware. But I don't subscribe to much or any of the fear mongering that's going on right now.
Thank you, Dallas. Thank you. Okay, so I got a couple questions here on the wall, Dallas. This one is from Texas Artist. Hi, Dallas. Sending blessings to you and your family from Central Texas. What is the latest on Bolivar? Will it be in the first basket? And why is there controversy on the zeros? Taking some of them off versus leaving them on. Based on what you shared today, 100 digitales would be 1.5 million.
Correct. Yeah. Based on the conversion that's on my phone, which is, I think it's 0.00001. is the conversion rate. But I've already expressed, that I think the Boulevard is going to do well, even if it's 10 or, even if it's 0.00001 cent. That's still a pretty darn good return for my $100 or whatever I spent. If you bought 100, or whatever the 100 digitalities is, that costs you maybe $20, maybe, and it's going to be worth 1.5 million. And I don't even think they were that expensive. I think they were $5 or $6. But anyway, I don't know if it'll be in the first basket. If it isn't, it's because of who's in charge of the country right now. But that will quickly be resolved, and they'll go. I mean, the second basket could go 5 days after the first basket goes. We don't know, but I do feel optimistic about it.
What about,
Oh, the zeros. I was told that the zeros are too complex, and that they're just going to do a flat rate per dollar. So I know there are lots of charts all over Telegram of, the 2017 is worth 39 cents, and the 2018 A-0 is worth 32 cents. And the person that I talked to that had connections to the government and the military in Venezuela literally said they're going to go face value straight exchange because it's too complex and there's too many questions about all the versions of their currency. That's what was said to me. So.
Thank you, Dallas. Okay, here's another one from Joni. Hi, Dallas and Jenny. Question. Altering listening to Mark Z and Mr. C this morning. I am so confused. Do you think our birth certificate money the cabal stole and owed to us is really gone? I think I heard them say, unfortunately, it is long gone. With that shock, do you believe Nasara is real and something we will ever see? I realize portions are being seen from farmers, etc. But what about the personal money and fortune so many are looking forward to? Thank you so much.
I did not hear Mark Z and Mr. C this morning, so I don't know exactly what they said, but I don't believe that to be true. I think our strawman accounts are still fully in effect. To my knowledge, there's still some of them are still actively trading us on the dark web through those systems. Just last week, a gentleman came out, a whistleblower, and said that there's a $150 trillion bond in the U.S. government that is designed to be repatriated to all of the American citizens. Well, I mean, 150 trillion divided by 300 million, it's several $1 million each. I think the actual number is like 9.2 million or something like that. But I believe that they're still in effect. I know that the government has siphoned money out of virtually every possible option, but that money that's on our Social Security numbers and our strawman account, that's not really money that's accessible by the cabal. I mean, they trade it and they make money off of it, but they don't really get to pull our money because it's literally tied to our name and our physical being. But we just got to wait and see. But I do think Nasara is real, and I do think we'll see it. I don't think it will be called Nasara, but I think we'll see it.
Thank you. Okay. So let's do one more. Okay. Kathy Ann, question. What do you think is the singular most significant trigger remaining for the RV to occur? Thank you.
Oh, man.
The $1 million question.
Yeah, all the ones that I thought were going to be the triggers turned out not to be the triggers. I think the celebration coming up is probably playing a pivotal role in getting the deal done. Ultimately, I think that it's just the sovereign leaders that are ultimately behind the money pushing into the system. When they feel like they have a significant enough or sufficient enough buy-in or agreement with all of the countries, I think it goes. And I think it's going to, when it actually goes, I think it's going to go real fast, and real fast being a little bit relative, but I think we're just right there, but I believe in it.
Thank you, Dallas. Okay, Tennessee Trash, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. You can ask Dallas your question.
Hello.
Hey.
I want to thank both of you for everything you do. I appreciate, Dallas, your down to earth and sensibility that you express, and you also give us hope. You give us hope through the Lord, but you also give us hope that all this fear porn that we're hearing is trying to either, I don't understand their purpose, even when it's from people who are podcasters, of saying, well, you're not really going to get all you planned on getting. But as far as that goes, is the agro still going to be with the Zim in the first basket?
As far as I know, the agro is actually at the very top of the very first basket. So the agros are definitely going. The Zim is going, I believe. Again, the Boulevard, I think Boulevard is in the first basket, but again, it depends on the prime minister. Does he removed and his new leadership put in, or how does that work? But maybe that's something that we can keep an eye on.
Do we plan on getting 33,000 per billion on the agro?
That's what I've heard, but I don't know that to be 100% fact, but that's what I've heard.
Okay. Well, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your prayers. I'm on a divided house that thinks I'm crazy and that it's all a flim flam, and everything that I listen to and watch it's getting difficult, but I'm still hoping that we get this done pretty soon so I can be vindicated.
That's one of my biggest prayers, honestly, is that God will allow this to happen so I can buy my wife a new car and she'll believe, because she needs a new car.
Yeah, my wife wants a new truck. So
yeah, so I'm with you, man. I feel your pain, but at the same time, it's like salvation in my mind. And this is kind of a weird analogy, but the monk and the knight, are walking down the path, and the knight's bragging about his, sexual exploits and all the money that he's earned and won by defeating his foes and and representing the king or whatever. And he's making fun of the monk because the monk lives in poverty and just kind of goes from spot to spot, just making enough to get a little food, stay warm. And the knight's making fun of him, and he says, well, what if you're wrong? Because the knight doesn't believe in heaven or hell, he doesn't believe in salvation, and the monk obviously does. And the knight's like, what you're missing all this stuff. And the monk simply says, if you're right, then yeah, I lived my life and I missed out on some brief pleasurable encounters with women, and and I didn't have a big house and I didn't have a lot of money, but I made a difference in the world, and I left the world better than I found it. If I'm right, then you go through all of your life on this earth and not believing and living however you want to, and then you're going to be faced with the ultimate judgment. And in reverse, I get to be right. And it's kind of a loose analogy, but that's kind of like this, right? Like, I believe it to be true, and I just look forward to that day where my belief is validated on the RV and all that stuff. But in the meantime, we just got to continue to lead and lead our families and and hopefully lead our families in a relationship with Christ and just leave the world a better place. I mean, that's we can do humanitarian projects right now. You can put some bags of toothpaste, toothbrush, 2 pairs of socks, and a thing of deodorant in a little sandwich bag and go around and pass them out to homeless people, and they will go nuts. They love the socks. I mean, we can do things that don't cost a whole lot of money, or maybe you just smile at that person that has a frown on their face when they walk in the gas station and just hey man, hope you're having a great day, or have a great day, and that's what lifts them up. Right? That didn't cost anything, just being polite. So.
Well, I'm with you and thank you. And I'm still hoping it's coming pretty soon.
Me too, brother.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you, Tennessee Trash. Okay, everybody, real quickly, I just saw in the messages here. Can you guys hear me okay? Or am I low?
Yeah, you're a little low, but I can hear you.
Let me stop low. That's weird. I think I might have to get a new mic. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to work on that here behind the scenes. So, Rebel Blondie, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Adelis your question.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate everything you do. And just a couple things. One, if you had already covered this, I'm so sorry I came in late. For the, I think actually you did cover it. When we do purchase the foreign currency, it doesn't really matter the date. Like I heard about the ZIM needs to be 2008 or sooner. Is that
2008 or 9. Yeah. The only one that has a specific, there are two that have dates that are relative, but the only one that's specific to a date is the ZIM. It has to be a 2008, 2009 AA or AB, trillion note series. But if you have just random Zimbabwe currency, I mean, the exchange rate on that's pretty good right now. But the only other one that has dates that are a part of the equation is the Bolivar from Venezuela. And I've been told that, you don't want to go earlier than 2017, but the reality is they're going to redeem. I mean, if it's Venezuelan, it's Venezuelan. It's all it has or was, it either is or was active currency. But the Bolivar, I didn't tend. I bought all 2018 to current, right? Because I just skipped the whole 2017 because I couldn't remember. But I really don't think it's going to be a huge deal on the Bolivar. But the only one that's really specific is the ZIM. That's 2008, 2009.
Great. So 2008, I have a 2008. So sounds like that's good. And just curious if just what you've heard, what the exchange rate would be.
For the ZIM?
Correct.
Mark is always, I've heard anywhere from 11 million to, 50 million. Mark kind of he's stuck between 30 million and 50 million. I've heard him say as high as 65, maybe 70 million. I personally think, I wouldn't stake this in the ground anywhere, but I personally think it could be worth even more than that, based on the in-ground assets of Zimbabwe. But 11 to 50 million is probably a good estimate. I have heard as low as 500,000, which doesn't make any sense to me based on what I know about the country of Zimbabwe and their assets. But I think we're probably somewhere between 11 and 30, 40 million.
And this is 100 trillion ZIMs?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And then the humanitarian project that goes with that?
That would be extra money. So you'll get the 11 to 30 million. That's your personal money. You can do whatever you want with that. And then if your humanitarian project gets accepted, they'll give you additional monies to facilitate that in a second account that will be earmarked for your humanitarian. But those are two different numbers.
Got it. So separate.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Jenny, and all the admins and everyone else. God bless.
Yeah. Welcome to the community.
Thanks, Alice.
Thank you, Rebel Blondie. All right, Trump train. Can you guys hear me better or no?
A little bit, yeah.
Am I still low?
You're lower than you usually are, but.
All right, what about now? Is that better?
You sound fine.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I had to turn up my volume here through Telegram. So go for it, Trump train.
Hi. My big brother D.
What's up, buddy?
Not much, my brother. Been praying for you, brother. Can I quit my job come Monday?
I would not advise it, but who knows? We'll have to see.
I'm ready, brother. And have you heard anything on the Pango?
Nothing new, no.
Okay, my brother. I'll keep praying for you. And thank
Same
you,
to you,
Jenny.
man.
Thank you, Trump train. Those are very short and poignant answers. Straight to the point. All right, Connie from West Virginia, go ahead.
Hi, thank you both. Dallas, if you were going to, in an economical fashion, purchase more currency, what would you recommend and any specific details about it, please?
These are just recommendations based on what I know from price, right?
Yes.
The Bolivar is by far the cheapest. So you can get a substantial amount of Bolivar for literally a couple $100. I mean, a lot. Yeah. Not a little bit. I mean, hundreds of millions. After that, the most affordable is the Vietnamese dong. I believe that it's still selling like through the banks and things like that for about $70 a million. Don't totally quote me on that, but I know that like when I bought it, it was 35 to $40 per million, and it's gone up substantially. So I think the floating number right now is around 70. Beyond that, the Zims, I think I don't know how much you paid for yours, but the last time I looked, 100 trillion Zim note was like $200, 175 to 250, somewhere in that range. And then the dinar is the most expensive. Right now, a million dinar will cost you about roughly $1,300. So that's depending on what your budget is and how much you want to put into this, knowing that it's called currency speculation for a reason. There is a slim chance that it never turns into be worth anything, but the Bolivar is the cheapest, followed by the dong, the Vietnamese dong, then Zim, and then Iraqi dinar. There are lots of others. I mean, there are lots of currencies. The Pango. There's another one that starts with P. I can't think of it right now, but some of those are relatively cheap, but those aren't the primary ones that we have focused on and watch.
Okay. And the Boulevard will be 2017 or younger?
Or newer. So you want like 2018, 19, 20, 21, anything.
Okay.
Anything from 2017 to current.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Connie. All right, Miss Janet, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question.
Thank you, and I'll be quick because I know there's others want to ask.
Go ahead.
Ask their questions too. Dallas, you've said before that you don't intend to take everything out of your QFS account once you exchange, redeem, that you only plan to use to pull out what you need for the time being. But if you plan to gift someone, at what point would you give them the portion that you're gifting them?
Ultimately we have to wait and see how quickly the rule of law changes, right? I mean, if we go instantaneously to a common law, constitutional law, well, then there are no limitations on gifting. So once that's finalized, you can do it the next day. Until then, the current system, I want to say the gifting limit is like 12,000 or 15,000 a year, something like that. In that case, we would want to then, build some trust and move the money within the trust so that we could then give, the money to whoever we're gifting it to. It would be a more complex system, but ultimately, I'm just not going to do anything like that really until I see what's happening legally. It doesn't mean that I can't take, money out of the bank and just go hand it to my friend and say, hey, this just helped you get, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 just to get you through next couple months, and I got more coming or whatever. But we just got to wait and see what system of government and law we're under, because that dictates the rules for gifting.
Thank you so much. Love you both.
Thank you.
Janet. All right, Dallas, here's one from the wall. Lydia says, greetings to Sweden, but I'm assuming she meant from Sweden. Do you know which banks will be used for exchange in the EU? We have all 5 of them that are mentioned. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know specifically because, well, and I'll tell you that in the United States, the banks that have been mentioned to me keep changing. I mean, it's probably changed 3 or 4 times. Not all of them, right? Some of them are pretty consistent, but um, I think as long as it's a major tier 1, tier 2 bank that's ISO 222 compliant and Basel 3 and Basel 4 compliant, then they're going to be in the new system. I just, one, I don't know what they're called. Like, I don't know what the names are, but if it's a major bank, it should be fine.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, Blair, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question.
Hi, my question is about where one can purchase foreign currency, and is if the foreign currency sites that are on eBay, if those are a scam, or if they're real, if they're fake. I mean, I don't even know where to even buy foreign currency.
Yeah. I tend to steer clear of eBay. I did buy some dinar through there, but it just felt weird to me. But some of the actual currency dealers have eBay sites where you can actually get it even cheaper if you go through the eBay site, but it's their official site. One for instance, Banknote World oftentimes has even cheaper prices on their eBay side of it. But for the most part, I mean, the ones that I am familiar with is banknoteworld.com, greatamericancoin.com, 100trillions.com. Those are a couple of the internet selling sites that I'm aware of. I don't have an affiliation or an affinity to any of them, but that's where I would start.
Blair, did that answer your question? I had to mute your mic because we were getting background noise. If it didn't, please raise your hand and I will unmute your mic. All right. Anybody else have any questions for Dallas? We have probably about 15 more minutes, so I don't see any. Oh, here we go. MJKMS, I'm going to unmute your mic. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question. Go ahead, MJ. There you go.
Hi, Dallas.
Hello.
Hope everything's well. I know you answered the question, but I missed it. The Pango, you said it hasn't changed since last time. I missed that number from last time.
Not that I'm aware of. I want to say like $1.26 or something like that, but I'm not 100%. I might have that confused with something else. But I haven't heard of it changing any since the last time I heard a number.
And do you know anything about the rupiah, Indonesian rupiah?
Not specifically, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right, Brenda Edens, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead again. Go ahead, Brenda.
I'll do another question if there's time. Dallas, what do you think about married people? Should they each have separate accounts? We have always done everything jointly, but wondering about redeeming currency and having separate accounts.
This is very much one, that's a very personal choice, right? And I'll explain why here in a minute. But this is just this is my opinion purely, right? If you and your spouse know about the currency, bought the currency together, follow the roller coaster that we all ride, then I think you could absolutely go in together, set up one account, have dual ownership, QFS, and go that way. I will tell you personally, I have purchased all of the currency from my side of the money. We have separate accounts, but then we have a joint bills account. But I'm going to take it in, I'm going to exchange it, and it's going to go into my account, and then she'll be my primary beneficiary. But she's never believed in it. my wife makes fun of me when I, when and if I've ever bought a lottery ticket. I'm like, well, you won't be making fun of me if I win, I mean, but I'm going to go in separately. I'm going to set up my own QFS account. I'll put her and my children on as beneficiaries as well, but I'm going to then get into a family office financially and build, all the needed trusts and LLCs and all that stuff that will be needed. Particularly if we stay in the old system. If we go in the new system, it would be much simpler. But if you guys do this together and you're both aware of it and you both have contributed, then I say absolutely go together. But again, that's it's a personal choice for you guys.
Yeah, good advice. So when the money goes into a QFS account, then we just link our checkbooks to that for transfers.
Yeah, you would move money out of the QFS into your normal, everyday checking or, banking system that you use. And then you can put money back into the QFS account, but you would transfer from the QFS to whatever, banking mechanism you're using. Cause you can't, from what I've been told, you can't purchase directly out of that account. Right. So you can't take money straight out of the QFS to buy a new car or buy a house. The QFS is literally just it's like a digital vault to hold your money.
So then the process to transfer, is that just like transferring from one account to another now, or is it going to be any more secure or any more tricky?
It will be similar. It'll be way more secure because there's going to be, the QFS is at its core. It is blockchain tracking technology is at its core what the QFS is. So the QFS is just designed to protect your money, but also, follow the money as it goes through transactions to make sure that somewhere down the road it doesn't get used for nefarious reasons. But other than that, it'll function the same way. So you'll be able to do direct, instantaneous wire, transfers from QFS to your primary checking, a Cash App, a Wise account. I mean, you could send it directly anywhere.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, Jazz, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jazz. Your mic is unmuted. All right, Sassy, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes, I have two questions. I'll be real quick. One is, you may have already said what you think the dong's going to be worth. And the second one, which is the most important to me, I have a mom with Alzheimer's I've been caring for 7 years. And I know I've heard that there are med beds. And my question is, do you personally know someone who has seen one or knows for a fact that there really are med beds that will cure people? Or is it like me, just what we've heard and what we believe? Thank you.
So it's really hard to get direct info, right, in this world, especially in this world. But the day that my wife had her mastectomy, last December, I think she had the actual first surgery December, but anyway, I was in her hospital room waiting for her to come out of recovery. And I got a call from somebody that I've met through this, not this platform, but through this movement. And he told me a story about one of his best friends that he sees and talks to every day, was ex-military. He was a veteran as well. And that his friend, who was in his 60s, got called back because he was ex-special forces. He got called back in. And the story that he told me, and I was in the hospital waiting for my wife to come out of surgery, was that his friend went to a facility, was at the facility for 3 days, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and basically was given access to med beds. And when he came out, he didn't look 30 years younger, but he said his body felt like he was a teenager. I mean, his knees didn't hurt, his shoulder, he'd had a torn rotator cuff in his shoulder. His shoulder was repaired. He looked better. He was fitter. So, I mean, do I personally know somebody that has seen or been in one? know, but I was told one party removed about a story. Now, again, it could be 100% lie, but I think you'd have to be kind of a jerk to call a man knowing he's in the hospital waiting on his wife to come out of major surgery to tell him a story like that, right? So
Right.
that's the most direct story I have. I've talked to several people, many people that that claim to have knowledge of helping transport the parts to build the beds. I actually have a very close contact that was a above ground hauler, truck driver who claimed that they took multiple loads to old hospitals that had been shut down, and they were unloading pallet after pallet after pallet of brand new equipment. They didn't know what it was or what it was, but they kind of put 2 to 2 together over time. But I believe they're real. That's, to be honest with you, I would rather, if I was only given one option to get into the med bed or to get all the money, I would take the med bed.
Me too.
I'm much more interested in the med beds than the money. The money will just help us spread goodness all over the world, right?
Right. Thank you so much. My mom has Alzheimer's, and I'm just wondering, do I have false hope? But thank you.
No, keep that hope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, Dallas, here's a couple here on the wall. From Poison Ivy, I'm assuming when she says question, do we need our receipts? I'm assuming she means the receipts for the purchases of the currencies.
I'm being told that that's becoming more and more important. Sorry.
You're good.
But, if you buy your currency 15 years ago and you don't have the receipt, well, they're going to have to get over that. But I mean, if you have them, I would take them. I have them all separated with my currencies. So I have every receipt that I've ever purchased. If you don't, then, we'll just have to cross that bridge when we get there. But if you have them, I would definitely take them.
Well, and two, also remember, buddy, when you purchase through Banknote World, whatever it is, or the Trillions area, you get a certificate with these along with a receipt. So they not only send you your receipt, but you get a certificate stating that it's legit. So, okay, here's another one for you, Dallas, from Texas Artists. They ask, Dallas, any info on basket replacement and the value of real? Thank you. Jenny, thank you so much for hosting these chats. It's very much appreciated.
It is appreciated, Jenny. On the real, my understanding is that it's in the first basket, but I don't know that to be a fact, and I don't have an idea on the value or the rate.
Thank you, Dallas.
But I believe it to be in the first basket.
Thank you, Dallas. All right, Joseph, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question.
Hey, Dallas. Follow-up question to one that was already answered. I think the female was asking some Intel providers. This is kind of new information. I think it was from Ginger, said that if you have a joint account and you exchange, but your spouse is a joint account, if she talks, that violates an NDA because it's a joint account. Any news on that?
Yeah, if you have if you both go in, you're both going. If there is an NDA, you both have to sign it, and that that means that you now have 2 opportunities to screw it up. But
well, if I go individually and I'm only the one that signs the NDA, but we have a joint account, those funds go in the joint account, and she, says some things that she shouldn't. Does that put up the funds in jeopardy?
Well, the funds would go into your QFS account. It wouldn't be a joint account. If you move money from your QFS account into your joint account,
yeah.
Is that your question?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting after.
Oh, okay. Yeah, oh man. I guess it depends on what was said. It depends on what the NDA actually says, right?
Right.
She would be listed. Well, hopefully she'd be listed on your exclusions on your NDA, so you could talk to her and tell her. But if she then violated the NDA by sharing the information, that's one party removed from you personally. But I'm just going to do my darndest to not let anybody know. My wife will obviously know, but I'm gonna take her somewhere for like a month and be like, no phones, no internet, no, just go get your nails did, get your hair did, get massages, and just chill. And I'll come get you in a month.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Joseph. All right, here's another one for you, Dallas, from Red Hat. Do you feel like this is going to happen this month? I know it's simply your opinion, but do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I was fully expecting and ready for it to happen last month. I said at the beginning of the show that my understanding is that Trump really wanted to try to get this done by the end of last month. Is that true? I don't know. It makes me feel better. But we talked about the Memorial Day and the kickoff of the year-long celebration of America. Like, if there's ever been a month where I thought this is a month that has to go, I would probably say this is the month. Hopefully the next 3 weeks. But I'm looking for some really positive movement, especially on the upper end of the bond side over the weekend into the 5th. So.
Thank you, Dallas. Okay, we've got 2 more hands here. All right, Miss Jen, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Dallas your question. Go ahead, Jen. Go ahead, Jen. Your mic is unmuted. All right, Miss Grace, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Ask Dallas your question. Go ahead, Grace.
Yes, hey there. Thank you, Jen, and thank you, Dallas. Real quick, what years did you say for the Zim?
2008, 2009, AA or AB bonds, trillion note series.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Awesome. God bless you.
Thank you, Grace. All right, Dallas. I don't see any more hands. I don't see any more questions on the wall. So I know we're right about that time that you give us 90 minutes.
Yeah. No, I want to do 2 shout outs real quick. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area this Sunday, I will be preaching at Dr. J and I's church, the Essential Church, over in Fort Worth. If you're not in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, then you can check it out online, etribe.org. You can watch it live there. But then secondarily, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area on next Saturday, May 10th, my wrestling ministry we're having our 25th anniversary to the day of when we started using professional wrestling to help share the gospel of Jesus Christ. But if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please check it out. But if you're not, this is very hush hush, so it's private between all of us. We are going to start live broadcasting the shows. So you'll be able to go to on YouTube, either go to the website, which is Ephesians Pro Wrestling, all one word, EphesiansProWrestling.org. And you can join the Facebook page, join the YouTube page. But if not, you look up Ephesians Pro Wrestling on YouTube and you can watch the show live. I will also be sharing the gospel on that broadcast as well. So this Sunday at Essential Church over in Fort Worth, or next Saturday in Fate, Texas, which is just east of Dallas. But EphesiansProWrestling.org is the website. You can buy tickets there and all that stuff.
So awesome, Dallas. Congratulations. Go check him out, everybody, if you're in the Dallas area. And Dallas, everybody, if you don't know, he's with us every other Wednesday. We've just had a bit of scheduling issues because I've been in the process of moving and my birthday. So I think we're going to be back on schedule. So Dallas, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, ma'am. And I told you happy birthday that you didn't see it until after your birthday, but happy birthday, belated.
I appreciate you. I did see it after, and I'm so sorry, but yes, thank you, Dallas, and God bless you and your family. And crossing my fingers that your wife gets that job. So keep us posted.
Okay, thank you.
All right, sweetie. Have a great day, and God bless everybody. Have a great weekend, and look for the show lineup over the weekend, everybody. Shows will start back up on Monday. With that, everybody, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon. God bless. Thanks, Dallas.